And what kind of player am I? Am I an offensive man or a defensive man? That's right, I'm neither. I play my opponent. If he likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. If he's a cautious man, I draw him into dangerous waters. See, you get so frustrated playing defensive positions, you make stupid moves you never make if you were thinking. When you come here, boy, check that shit at the door,
I'm at the top of my game, cut the check. Somebody better king me, I'm the best. Let's play a game of checkers. Better yet, the game don't love nobody. Let's play chess.
I keep forgetting when I'm in love anymore. I keep forgetting.
All right. Here we go. Today we have the Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. I'm going to come on with a Saturday update. I believe it to be completely necessary considering current events right now. Sorry, voice a little messed up. I've been up since 4 a.m. So I don't want to hear any bitching. And I'm working on like a nice hot cup of absolutely horrible coffee, but I got 4 shots of espresso in it. So let's do this because we got Sonny Johnson coming on in about 1 hour. So, in current events, we got the MAGA rally 2020 going on in D.C. I encourage all of you to be safe out there. Don't act stupid. Don't start fights. It would behoove you if you're going to protest and you're going to go out and you're going to stop the steal. You're not actually doing that, but I like the enthusiasm. If you're going to go out there and you're going to stop the steal and you're going to go to these rallies, it would behoove you to dress to the nines. Suit, tie, business casual. It was a tactic that was used in the 60s. By coming out and dressing appropriately, you force a reckoning when it comes to people actually watching your movement. They actually have to view you based on the content of what you're bringing to the table, and they cannot just discount the movement or the rally or the protest solely based on what the media is willing to portray, which if you've ever seen actually analyzed what the media does to every movement, they take the lowest common denominator and they make that the face of any movement they wish to discredit. And this goes across the entire political spectrum. It's happened to good movements, it's happened to bad movements, or movements that were objectively worse than they started out as. It's also a quick way to turn a good movement into a bad movement. And you can also make a bad movement look good by taking the most articulate individual of an absolutely despicable, disgusting situation, putting them on TV, and all of a sudden the movement seems very above board. And I just want to say, by dressing to the nines and always being at your best, that allows everyone looking at you go, oh, okay, well, this the continuous epithets that you'll be labeled with, the being told that you're a racist, being called a white supremacist, white nationalist, all that stuff, all the different MAGA epithets that will be thrown at you. Dress up in a suit and a tie. Do not let yourself be cast down as the lowest common denominator. Go out there, protest peacefully. Don't get violent. If you're going to do anything, only act in self-defense. Don't go out there looking for trouble. Don't punch people screaming in your face. If someone puts hands on you, yeah, go ahead and put hands on them back. But other than that, keep your hands to your fucking self. You know, we kind of learned that shit in like grade school. Okay. Now with the Stop the Steal rally and the recent Supreme Court case, I think we all should have an idea by now that this is not going the way we all thought it was going to go, or I should say many hoped it was going to go. I had no faith that the Supreme Court, even given a valid case that they could have taken up, would have actually done so. solely for the fact that these, it's been said many times, these are human beings. They do succumb to pressure, and they are not oblivious of the current situation that we're in. They are not at all oblivious of what's going on right now. And by basically by sending that case and accepting the case and overturning the election, it very likely would have resulted in violence from the left, and subsequently violent from the right and retaliation, because as conservatives, we're largely apathetic and we're largely reactionary, whereas the left, being progressive, are largely activists, and they are largely proactive. You can argue with me based on whatever you happen to fall into, but as Sonny says all the time, if it doesn't apply to you, shut the fuck up. I don't care. If it doesn't apply to you and you're a proactive person, then you shouldn't take any offense to what I'm saying right now. On the flip side, you have the Supreme Court case, which they decided not to hear the case. And this was across the board, okay? So the most conservative people on the court decide not to hear it. And I'd argue two of the most conservative people on the court said they would have heard it, but you wouldn't have gotten the remedy that you wanted anyways. The remedy itself would result in such, I mean, it hasn't happened in almost 100 years at this point. So that particular remedy, where it actually has to go to the House and we have to pick the electors out when we have to vote that way, that hasn't happened in approximately 100 years. So to expect that it would have happened this time, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't have happened, because personally I believe it should have. There is enough going on that, yes, while you could not overturn the states individually and award it to whoever you wanted, which if we had done the audit, actually audited the votes, and that's not the same as a recount. Recount, you're counting the same votes. Auditing, you're checking to see if the votes were even valid to be cast in the first place. Were the rules changed? Yes, they were. We should have fought that battle before the damn election. So that's on us and our apathy. And as a Marine, my biggest disdain towards the political landscape is apathy, specifically in the conservative camp. I despise apathy. It gets you nowhere, and I don't like defensive politics where we sit back and we think we can just hold a district and the other team is just not going to advance. That's not how political landscape or any of the landscape works. So to me, it's an unsound strategy. Now, moving forward, I think our best thing that we could do right now is to pivot towards Georgia. We need to pivot towards Georgia and put all of our resources and efforts in Georgia. Do not let the grifters in Georgia turn it into a way for them to profit off of what we need to be able to hold the line. And I say this for two reasons. Having the line held in Georgia, if Biden really is the moderate that everyone says that he is, or that we continue to say he is, I don't believe that he is. I believe he is a creature of the swamp. He's a creature of Washington. He'll do whatever it takes to get into office. And, you know, if that means he has to kowtow to the left to maintain his office, then that's exactly what he'll do. If that means that he has to pretend to be the moderate and pull the party back towards the center, that's what he'll do. If the Senate is taken and they have the House and the Senate and the presidency, Biden will have exponentially more pressure to go further leftward. If we hold the Senate, he will have an excuse not to move leftward. Granted, they'll still move left, but it will be much slower, and it will be able to be thwarted by the very, very small margin of votes that are needed in both the House and the Senate to make anything realistically happen. So we are basically the Republicans, even the crony types would form a wall where people actually have to work across party lines. And that's not to say that bad things can't happen, because most of the horrible things that have happened in our nation's history were actually very bipartisan and happen amongst both parties and with very large support, because the one thing that both parties agree on is their disdain for having to actually answer to the average voter or take direction from the average voter, and their hatred of a third party option. However, given that the holding the Senate should be priority number one, and I've said this from day one since the Stop the Steal rallies and all that started, Donald Trump is a big boy. His lawyers are big boys. We cannot do anything to change the outcome of these court cases. Yes, protesting is good. Getting in the face of your elected officials is good. Making them hear you is good. That is all non-apathetic. That's proactive behavior, and I'm all for it. I absolutely love it, and I would like to see more of that. And not just right now when you think it will get Donald Trump. I mean, after Donald Trump is long gone, whether it be this election, next election, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now, I want that same energy. Keep that energy, because that energy is how you get a movement across a finish line. That's how we reshape the party and how we can get new people in. Grab some coffee because I'm dying right now. We need to get new blood within the party. Okay. And the Black Political Action Committee, shout out to George Farrell and the rest of the candidates, Tamika Hamilton, Kimberly Klasick, Angela Stanton King, Joe Collins III, Philonise White, Rayla Campbell, John James, and Burgess Owens, and Herschel Walker, and many, many, many others. Angela, Paulina Luna, and all that, all over the country. I would like to see more of these candidates run again. And I don't agree with these candidates on everything. A lot of them chose messaging I wouldn't have chosen. I understand I don't get to run their campaigns for them. I would have advised them different. I also understand when you're working with the GOP, you also end up having to accept talking points you may not believe in. I don't personally believe that. However, that's what's been told to me. I won't be doing that when I run my campaign. I have my own fucking brain, and I have my own things I need to say. However, this pivot going into this next round in the political landscape, we need to take this seriously, and everything that we do needs to be proactive and gained towards holding the Senate and towards 2022. And that means every single 2022 candidate campaign needs to start in 2021 at the beginning of the year, because we need to be on the ground and we need to be knocking on doors. We need to be talking to people. And I mean having a real conversation with people. We need to be having real conversations with people. We need to be out there letting people understand that we hear them. And while Trump may or may not be in the picture, personally, I think he'll be much more effective if he's not president of the United States, because he can do things that a president can't. He can start a media company. He can bolster some of the voices from this side of the aisle. He can bring in Felicia Killings, Maj Toure, Sonny Johnson, Jeff on the right, Wayne Dupree, Dr. Darrell Scott again. He can bring in, and he was a big supporter of the Black Political Action Committee, or at least to my current knowledge. So we need to bring these more voices in, and I want to see every single currently serving GOP candidate or GOP elected official to be primaried as well. As a person who will be running in the next election, and as a person that believes in our system of government, or at least how it was designed, There should be no candidates that get to office without being primaried, without having to answer to their constituents. And yes, that means a debate. You should have to debate. You should have to justify why the hell people should vote for you. There should be some sort of reckoning where you have to explain what you have been doing, why you voted a certain way, what positions you've taken, the things that you've said, the people you've allied with, whatever. And if you can explain it and you get reelected, that's fine. If you cannot explain it, then you need to be replaced. And results need to be the currency of the day. No more of this, oh, well, you know what, I didn't get it done in the first 12 years, so elect me for another 4 so we can keep on going with this. No. So, yes, I support Stop the Steal protests. Yes, I do believe, not that the votes were fraudulent. No, because there are voters that voted correctly and did the right thing to their knowledge. There are also people who are willing to make up votes, use dead voters, and cheat and do shady shit like change the rules to allow votes that otherwise would not count. That is not on the voter. The voters are disenfranchised by the people who are cheating in their name, not the voters are the problem themselves. So this isn't an issue of illegal voter, illegal votes, illegal voters. It's more of an issue of election fraud, not voter fraud. Okay, and there's this idea that, oh, well, it's never widespread voter fraud has never been proven. Most political candidates don't have the balls to even challenge it. And very rarely is the election so close that proving it would have actually overturned the election. Okay? And you have a very, very short window of time to be able to prove it in the first place, whereas most cases like this would probably take 6 months to a year or even a couple years to be able to litigate. So the idea that we're going to figure this out in a month and a half, 2 months, yeah, you're not selling me on that one. Okay, let's look at it with a little bit of reason. And you have, if you had unfettered access to everything and you could fight this entire fight and you could investigate, I'm sure that we would have found a whole lot of fraud. I'm sure we would have been able to find out a whole lot more. And yeah, we probably would have ended up having to throw out the election. And yeah, people would have been very, very pissed at that. Very, very pissed at that. And I could completely understand how they feel. But you should be pissed at the people that cheated and screwed up your ability to have a legal vote, not the people who are challenging other people cheating. Okay? If you rob a bank and you give me $2 million, okay? And the government comes to take back that $2 million, I shouldn't be mad at the government. I should be mad at the person that stole the money and lied to me when they gave it to me. All right? You gave me false hope, lying bastards. We need to levy the blame where it belongs, okay? The fact is, I'm a conservative. I will not beat around the bush about it. I will not lie to you about it. I don't identify as a Republican. I disdain the idea of identifying by whatever association I happen to have with whatever political party, tentatively based on the current election cycle or whatever. I think that's completely arbitrary, and it doesn't amount to principles because party platforms rarely have anything to do with actual principles. As we see Democrats that will occasionally do conservative things, and we see a lot of conservatives doing a whole lot of liberal, progressive things that have nothing to do with conservatism. So I don't think the party labels actually equates to what we would think that they should equate to. So I choose to talk principles over party. So in that, talking principles over party and principles over party and solutions over politics, let's get into how we move into the future. Right now, Coach Felicia announced yesterday and again this morning that Twitter class on a daily basis will now be going not underground, but it will be going to her network. And if you want to join that network, you should get in on it now while you can, and while it's available to you. That there will basically be no free ideas thrown out in the ether for the political establishment to come down here and grift off of. As for the MAGA grifters that made a fortune off of writing books and making Trump your entire personality, I got nothing for you. I don't even think you're ready for this next round of fight, because you made Donald Trump your fight. Donald Trump was one man. Whether you like him or not, he couldn't do it alone. And too many of you were perfectly happy taking the pictures, the snapshots, writing the books, and having your own little YouTube channels and screaming his name at the top of your lungs, but it ended up getting nothing. Okay? The votes, the increased votes that he got within the black community, he could have got those on his own without all the people that glommed on to the movement. To be honest, he was making inroads in the black community without the plantation talk. He never used it. So, I mean, hey, you know, props to him for not using that language. And at the same time, shame on you for associating with the people that do. So I say all those people that they made a fortune off of Trumpism need to leave. And you know what? I would like to see Trump start his media company, as I said before. And I'd like to see him really start to pivot and move and become a power structure within the party and help us reshape the party. And maybe we can kick out some of the big government establishment type crony corporate bailout, foreign war, big spending, budget busting, open border losers that we continue to elect. Okay. Now, this goes to Georgia. Stop whining and threatening to not vote in Georgia. You sound like a weak-ass beta male. We just spent 4 years calling the left snowflakes for acting like betas, and now you're out there screaming and crying, a whole bunch of grown men crying on the street because Donald Trump is not going to be inaugurated on January 20th. And whether you believe that or not, that's okay. The fact is that you're out there whining and crying when we got work to do. We need to win Georgia. You need to vote in Georgia. This is not an optional thing. In what way does jumping off the cliff voluntarily save you from being pushed off the cliff? What kind of fucking logic is that? What Candyland strategy led you to believe that I'm going to abstain from voting and they're all of a sudden going to listen to me? No, you abstained from voting, which means they don't have to listen to you. You empowered the lobbyists. You empowered everybody that works against you. You made the establishment stronger by not showing up. The best thing that you could do is get on the ground in Georgia, vote, hold the line, and then once you get Loeffler and Perdue into office, then you get in their face and you tell them exactly what you want. That no, the borders are closed. We need to deal with, like, this should be a pretty simple idea. I say, shut down all immigration for anybody not already in the process of immigrating here legally, so that we can finally fix the immigration system and then deal with the immigrants that we already have here, or the illegal immigrants that we already have here. Deport the criminal illegals, you know, the drug dealers, rapists, murderers, deport them. But all the ones that are here without a continuous criminal record other than just actually coming here illegally, you know what? You've already been here for a decade. You've already been here for 20 fucking years. I'm not saying that you should get citizenship for breaking the law, but we can give you a green card, legal residency, so that you're not dropping the wage floor out from under our economic markets by being able to accept a wage from outside of the marketplace, because you have to escape under the radar because we can't count you. And yes, that would mean you'd be able to file tax returns and all of that. You'd actually be counted in the census. We'd actually be able to know who you are, what you're doing here, that you're not a terrorist. Make sure that you're not bringing in foreign diseases when you come here from a third world country, wherever you happen to come from. And I don't care whether you come from Canada, Russia, the UK, Ireland. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. This should be pretty simple. All right. Green card for the people that are already here, that are not criminals, deport the actual criminals, shut down the border, build the damn wall, so that now everybody can be enfranchised in this wonderful system that we have, and fix the immigration system so it doesn't take 17 years to immigrate here and you can do it easily in 7. Okay? And no more benefits for certain countries over other countries. No more handouts to other countries. I mean, we got our own shit going on here that we need to be taken care of. Okay? And I keep hearing this whining about the tax code. Flat tax. Simple. 10% flat tax across the board, 15% corporate tax across the board. Inescapable. Inescapable. No one gets away from it. No loopholes. All right? That 15% for companies relocating their manufacturing back here to the United States, cut it down to 12% for 5 years, allow them to reestablish their operations here in the U.S. if they locate their new manufacturing facilities within a low income, economically distressed area. You know, all those areas in the Midwest and all these major cities and stuff, the Rust Belt and everything that, you know, rusted because all the jobs left decades ago. You know, the guy that we just voted into office was a big part of that, and it's probably going to happen again. But hey, bring them all back. Let them all get to work. We'll have the lowest corporate tax rate and the fastest economic and manufacturing growth in the world. Okay, keep it so that they can't pollute the atmosphere and everything. Some basic EPA regulations and stuff. Doesn't mean you have to regulate more. Just basic. All right, you can't increase regulations and outpace the new production. The same way when you drop the taxes and you lower taxes across the board, which is why I say flat tax. Everyone pays 10%. If you make $1 billion, you're going to be paying 10% of $1 billion. You make $10,000, you pay 10% of $10,000. Okay, $10,000 deductible for each adult, friggin' in the household, and $2,500 deductible for each child in the household. No special married or civil union tax deductions. I just don't care about any of that. Okay, live your life however you want to live. You want to be single, you're going to get the same adult tax deduction that you would if you were married, and I don't think that should change. And at the end of the year, if you happen to even out and you end up owing nothing because those deductions outweigh what you owe, you're going to pay $500. You're going to pay $500. Everybody has skin in the game. No one escapes the game. Okay? And you should end up having to pay it quarterly, to be completely honest. You should actually have to write the check. If you actually write the check, I guarantee you'd have a different perspective on how the government actually spends your money. But we can get into that another time. But the idea is we should be looking out for ourselves before we look out for other countries. Okay? When you're in an airplane and it's crashing, you put on your own mask before you put on the person next to you, before you help the person next to you. All right? You get yourself onto the damn raft before you help a person next to you. Even Rose did not help Jack out of the water. She stayed on that door herself and let his ass float or friggin' sink down into the ocean. Never let go of my ass. But but we need to pivot. We need to pivot. This next round is going to be interesting. Okay. And we got two choices. We can stick on to what we've been doing. We can keep using the bad talking points. We can keep screwing around, and we can keep fooling around and using language that insults people. We can keep approaching people as if they're idiots and hoping that maybe they won't call us on it, but I wouldn't count on that. Okay, I definitely wouldn't count on that. I think that is wholly counterproductive. You cannot start off a sales pitch by calling the person that you're trying to sell an idiot right before you do it. Okay, and that's exactly what those talking points do. And we don't make those statements towards any other demographic of voter that we're trying to reach. Okay, so that should be reason enough for you. That inconsistency right there, we're talking about election inconsistencies. That inconsistency right there should make you second guess why you were using those talking points in the first place. Okay. The Supreme Court not choosing to take up the case is not the end. Okay. It's not the end of the world. If we can hold the Senate, we can still hold the country. And even if we don't hold the Senate, they have the slimmest majority in the House ever. Okay? And the likelihood is, if they attempt to do most of what they're trying to do, okay, most of what they're trying to do, they will meet such furious resistance that in 2 years they might absolutely get swamped. Which is, I hope they get swamped in 2 years. I hope to see this movement grow. Because right now, we made a mistake over these past 4 years. Every single person that claimed to be red-pilled and claimed to now be MAGA, that was a lifelong Democrat, got to jump into this movement with us. No, sorry. Drop something. They all got to jump into this movement with us. And I think that was wholly counterproductive, because most of them were not conservative. Okay, they weren't actually conservative. They were still proposing under the banner of conservatism. They were giving liberal proposals. Okay, and liberal, just like conservatism, is not defined by party platform, is defined by the principles of progressivism versus conservatism. Okay, I don't think liberal accurately terms either party. I think liberal would actually more accurately describe the Libertarian Party rather than either party, because I've seen a whole lot less of any sort of liberalism and then from either party than I have the Libertarians. And by liberalism, I mean the enfranchisement of liberty in the individual. Yeah, so there's that. I think we have a wonderful opportunity within the Republican Party, which very soon, once I actually start my campaign, I will be a Republican. I'm still not going to defend Trump or the party to people. Okay. I don't do that on Twitter. I don't do it on Facebook. I will not defend the party to people and argue party. I will argue solutions. I will argue policy. I will argue ideas. I think arguing policy or party and people over ideas and principles is a losing argument. I think you're starting at the wrong end of the argument. Okay. There's this thing, and it's basic sales technique. You walk up to somebody, you introduce yourself, you tell them, so I'm going to start out with where I stand. Okay, these are my principles, my ideas, and my solutions for the problem that you happen to address me with. Okay, and if you agree with those principles and you like the principles and the idea and the policy I'm putting forward, the solutions to the problem that you described to me, then that is at the point where I shake your hand and I ask for your vote. That is when I deliver you the party. I say, hey, I would appreciate your vote. Welcome to the Republican Party, if you agreed to give it to me. Okay? Now, there is a tactic towards how to phrase everything that you say so that you are not blamed for everything the party does. You are taken as an individual. This is something that many people that ran in this election screwed up because they were directly tethered to Trump, despite the fact that they had great ideas. Okay? if you directly tether yourself to another person or directly to the party and you are Republican and Trumpian over your own principles, ideas, and solutions, then when they go down, you go down. Okay. Now, the party was able to, a lot of the successful candidates, you see, they were able to run their own individual platforms while running on the benefits of Trump and Republicans, but being able to run as individuals. Okay. Running as an individual is a necessity. Okay. You're running on what you're bringing to the table. Me, I'm bringing, just like my podcast, blue collar intellectual. I'm a blue collar guy. Okay. I have the reading, I have the intellect, I have the knowledge, and I have the life experience of the vast majority of the United States. That is what I'm bringing to the table. And conversations that will be had the exact same as if I were to be talking to you right now. I see absolutely no way that we can continue down this road if we do not change the methods that we're currently taking. Okay, if we do not change our methods and we do not come correct in this next cycle and change the way that we converse with people and change the way that we present ourselves, and I don't mean just suit and tie. Okay, I mean the way that we talk to people, the way we engage with people, boots on the ground, real conversations over talking points. Talking points are shallow, they're easy to debunk, easy to manipulate, and easy to misconstrue and combat. There's a reason why in a 2-minute debate you hear a whole lot of talking points and not a whole lot of substance. Mostly the people on the stage are banking on the fact that you won't do the research so they can use the talking point against you. They're banking on the lack of intelligence of the average voter. Personally, I think most people that actually watch the debates are pretty decently versed in what they what they would like to see and what they would like to hear, and can actually intelligently analyze the debates one way or the other, despite their biases on who happened to do better and who didn't. So I think nuanced conversation rather than talking points is the best way to get your point across to anybody. Because that's how we have conversations in the real world. We don't friggin' run around screaming at each other, stop the steal, MAGA, BLM, I can't breathe. No, we have real conversations about issues, and we may agree to disagree, but the idea is when we have conversations, normally when it's not online, we do not have conversations in the vein of trying to own each other. We're normally trying to understand each other and figure out where each other are coming from and get to a solution. And I think if we if we organize our campaigns that way, we'll achieve a level of success that we otherwise wouldn't. So, like I said, going into this next round, we got a lot of work to do. I hope that we will be as effective as we could. I hope we'll be as effective as we can. Okay, I will be dropping my campaign website as soon as possible. There will be no donations or anything that can be made until the new year post inauguration, regardless of who's inaugurated. I will be running regardless of who's inaugurated, because last year my state ran 2 very vanilla candidates that basically had no platform. They ran on Trump's accomplishments, but they had no platform of their own. And they were walking talking points. Okay. I don't think that represents the whole of society. And I don't think we should be sending people to Washington that can't converse with people on the other side of the aisle. Personally, I think the majority of the people that I think I am probably about 50-50 people that follow me online being conservative and liberal. And I get along with all of them. I get along with all of them because I treat every single one of them with respect, and I would never do otherwise to anybody. And I think that's where we need to start, is with a common decency and respect towards our fellow man and our fellow individuals, and go from there. So once again, I appreciate everyone that supports me and has been watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the YouTube channel, Blue Collar Intellectual, on YouTube. And as usual, I will be live streaming. Again, I will also be dropping the Blue Collar Intellectual website coming in this coming week, before the campaign website, where you can buy apparel, you can check out podcasts. I'll have all the previous episodes uploaded, and I will be start putting out articles and content geared towards solutions, not geared towards trying to own the libs, or libs trying to own the right, because I don't believe any of that is actually productive. It's one thing to debunk a lie, it's the other to rag on things that are completely unproductive and don't move us forward for the foreseeable future. So let me start by saying, let me finish by saying we have a set of principles. Okay, as a conservative, I believe in free markets. And free markets does not mean cronyism. It means the absence of cronyism. Okay, it means the absence of government interference in the market to the point the trying to manipulate the market. It means, and when free markets are not obtainable, the most, like Milton Friedman had said, the most that you can hope for is fair markets. So if I can't get free markets, I do the best I can to have fair markets. All right. The full and utmost enfranchisement of the republic, meaning our federal government should be making very few decisions that affect our daily lives. When we have a problem in our local communities, we need to handle it in our local communities. And if it cannot be, then we go to the state level. If the state needs help, then hey, you know what? Maybe we need to figure something else out. All right. Nowadays, we don't even need the federal government. We can do a GoFundMe page. Like, we could have done a GoFundMe page for the Flint water crisis. And I don't want to hear it's all Trump's fault or it's all Obama's fault. Both administrations dropped the fucking ball. You want to be realistic with the Flint water crisis? The city of Flint, Michigan dropped the ball. They dropped the ball 10 years ago. They dropped it over 5 years ago. They dropped it over 10 years ago when they knew that they had a water issue. They dropped it over 5 years ago when they should have friggin' moved to fix the water issue under Obama, when it passed through the city at the city level where they had an issue. Then it went to the state level and they didn't handle the issue. Then it went to the Obama administration and Congress. They did nothing. Then you blame Trump for it once it was at the executive level, and he did nothing. And he said that the city and the state need to handle it. The state and the city told him to fuck off. Then Elon Musk went in there to try and handle it. So there's plenty of blame in D.C. to go around. And it's the partisan politics that led us there. Okay? If we had worked our budgets, and I understand infrastructure projects are not sexy. When there's a new possible program that might put money in your pocket directly, not going to help you long term, but it'll put money in your pocket directly for at least a short period of time. It sounds a hell of a lot sexier than saying, hey, we're going to fix our water so that 10 years from now we're not getting cancer and dying. By the way, the military is being sued right now for kind of like the exact same thing in every town that houses a military base, like nationwide. So yeah, I got mailers about it. Like every base that I've been at has contaminated water. So woohoo, cancer in the future for quite a few of us, and due to negligence. Okay, let's be honest about what we're dealing with. Most of the corruption, most of the failures in DC are bipartisan, and neither party's really jumped to fix it. And the reason neither party's jumped to fix it is because the people in power of both parties are often on the same side of things, which is their side, not our side. All right, there are idealists in both parties, and a lot of them are new to Congress, and they intend to change things. And not all of them are 100% conservative, and not all of them are 100% leftist. But I think pragmatic new people to Congress are much easier to work with than the establishment that work across the aisle to benefit themselves and not us. So, yeah. Uh-huh. I look forward to having more people, more interviews coming on. I'm going to start putting out more streams on a regular basis throughout the week. And hopefully we can get to a point where I'm dropping a stream once a day or once every 2 days, like 5 days a week or some shit like that. All right. When another big story comes out or some more information comes out, I'll be sure to hop on and give you guys another live stream. We can have more conversations. If ever any of you would like to hop in the comments, I have no problem answering questions or having conversations on here. As a matter of fact, I prefer the live engagement. It allows us to move the conversation past just a monologue and get to real results in the near future. So it's time to get ready for Sonny Johnson. A couple honorable mentions for the day. I'm going to go down Jeff Chief, Jeff on the right on Twitter, Sonny Johnson, Felicia Killings, Miss Pinky down there in Georgia. Thank you, ma'am. And your sister did my artwork for my culture logo. I hope you guys like this. It's pretty freaking badass. I absolutely love it. She does great work. Miss Frazee online. Shout out to Maj Toure and Wayne Dupree and George Farrell and Dr. Darrell Scott and Olivia Rondo, Jonesy from the Pod Wasted podcast, Soon, and Larry Sharp for coming on yesterday. I really appreciate that. Soon, I'm going to be doing one on policing, and that's going to be coming soon, hopefully on Monday. I can lock this in with everyone to do one specifically on policing. We're going to talk about something that Sonny Johnson has mentioned multiple times, but I want to get a little bit deeper into it. I'm going to have on a cop, if I can book somebody, a conservative and a liberal, and I'd like to have on a libertarian, and let's see if we can get to some things that we all agree on, because I would like to see across the political spectrum where we all agree rather than focusing on where we disagree. There's something that Ronald Reagan said that I like to actually live my life by, this whole live and let live mentality that I was raised with. My 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. Okay? Big tent politic. I would prefer to get along with you for the 80% of the time that we can, rather than try to strangle each other over the 20% that we can't. All right? I think, this is just me, I think the best solution we have right now is a convention of states. Right now, we are so far down this rabbit hole that I don't know where we go from here without having something to pull us back. I don't know where we go without having something to pull us back towards a reasonable outcome. All right. So I appreciate you all being here with a Saturday episode of Blue Collar Intellectual Podcast. Again, I'm going to start doing this on Saturdays at noon, every Saturday, right before Sonny's Corner comes on. And of course, Coach Felicia will be assembling, she'll be doing the quotes, she'll be quoting Sonny's Corner. I'll assemble the thread so that you can share it with everyone. Again, share the podcast, go like and subscribe on YouTube, share it with your friends and your family. Let's see if we can have conversations in a different vein. We don't have to be at each other's throats all the time. I love y'all. We don't even got to agree all the time, but I mean, we can all be family. We can all work together. good to go. You know, it is what it is. The world is not perfect, but it can be a hell of a lot better than what we've had. All right?
And what kind of player am I? Am I an offensive man or a defensive man? That's right, I'm neither. I play my opponent. If he likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. He's a cautious man, I draw him into dangerous water. See, you get so frustrated playing defensive positions, you make stupid moves you never make if you were thinking. When you come here, boy, check that shit at the door,
I'm at the top of my game, cut the check. Somebody better king me, I'm the best. Let's play a game of checkers. Better yet, the game don't love nobody. Let's play chess.